Jones. But so I'm like literally like I'm just pull it out of I put it in my closet every Tuesday night, and then I pull it out of my closet every Tuesday afternoon, and it's only used for this, and I don't change anything, and I have no idea why. It's super weird. So let's try this again. What do you guys say? Here, ready? Do a little splash screen. Hello and welcome to episode number 44. And I think I have to go Zoom primary. Is it got him up there right now, or is it?
Nothing's changed yet.
All right.
It looks like you have two people.
All right, we're good. To the Ask Aviator podcast. This is the second time that Tucker's been on, at least, I think. Plus, were you at Cinefun one? I don't know.
No, I think just the one when we were down there a couple months ago.
It's been so many experiences and lives together. But super glad to have you and Jaclyn on. For those of you guys who don't know, that's actually how she properly pronounces her name. If you think it's Jaclyn, it's actually mistaken. Tucker says it weird, which I don't understand why. Anyone who's ever worked at Starbucks and has written her name on a cup knows it's Jaclyn. Isn't that correct?
And it has to be a different spelling every time. That's how you get it right.
Every single time. I feel like my name is difficult, and Eric is a hard name apparently. My favorite piece of mail I've ever received was to Harry Stairwell instead of Eric Farewell. But Jaclyn was a next level thing. Like, that was pretty impressive, actually.
Harry Scarewell. That's so great.
It's my alter ego. It's my superhero name. No big deal. So, anyway, we're here with Tucker and Jaclyn because we wanted to have a conversation about, about flying, COVID, the swag. I was really excited because I was going to try to help Tucker sell out of all of his gear, and he already sold it all because you guys are thirsty, and the only thing that will cure it is more cowbell or Tucker swag. So
many do not report Tucker got to the FAA shirts and stickers are in circulation right now. I don't know if you've seen my story.
I did.
Anytime I see someone tag me in a new on trailers, on the backs of motorcycles, on paramotors, it's hilarious.
Did you see our video with the Parapack that we had airdropped into the house?
Yeah, with Ross.
Yeah, so did you see all the comments on that? Like, you're going to get reported to the FAA just like Tucker.
No, I didn't.
Oh my
Because,
God.
That's definitely breaking the law. It's against the federal aviation rules to drop things.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. I mean, how dare you drop things when they pose no harm to persons or property? That's totally logical. Like, it's totally logical. I don't know. I don't want to mock people because I understand that some people just don't know. But because we had a rancher that was just west of the airport who got so infuriated that we were flying over his ranch, and he's like, "You can't fly below 500 feet." At one point, I think he said 5,000, and I said, "Actually, sir, it is legal." He's like, "Well, I don't like it." And I said, I totally understand. We will put a rule in front of our school that says, please don't fly over this guy's ranch below 500 feet. And he's like, "But it can't be legal." I said, "I understand that you feel that it can't be legal. However, the law says that not only is it legal, it's actually it's not a bad thing." So somebody said that the audio is good now, but Tucker is too loud. If you can turn down your gain there, Tucker, feel free.
How would do that,
What microphone are you using?
I got a webcam hooked up, and it's taking the webcam audio.
Gotcha.
Audio
Right. Well, when you grow up and buy a real microphone, which we are going to find a way for you to afford a real microphone. I have a system. I have a plan. Since you sold out of shirts, you could sell Aviator shirts instead. You like it?
I don't know. Maybe we could work out a deal.
You know what's funny is I was actually going to buy one of the Don't Report Tucker Gott shirts, and I don't own a single Tucker Gott shirt, and I kind of feel bad about it. And so I need one that has Jaclyn's face on it, though, or just some black leggings on it, because then I
like that.
I would wear the snot out of that.
We do need Jaclyn edition.
Yeah, a Jaclyn edition I feel like is only right, and her wing is such perfect colors to be featured. I don't know what color shirt you put on. Maybe a gray shirt.
Jaclyn has always pestered me since socks.
Don't tell people good ideas, Tucker.
We're going to come out with it next month. We'll be on top of it.
Wind socks, eh?
Windsock
Like
socks.
wind socks.
Like wind socks.
I just had a great conversation with Ozone. They have capability right now to produce some wind socks for us. In fact, that we were discussing this today. So if you have a design in mind, like is it like a tube sock or like a, a toe sock with all the little toes? What are you thinking?
Yes.
Yes, all of the above.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh. All right. So guys, we have a great group of people in the chat right now. Truly appreciate everyone being here. That said, I would really love to answer some questions for folks, to have Tucker answer some questions, Jaclyn answer some questions. If you guys get tired of me being on here, Nell's behind the camera, and I would be more than happy to swap with her and let her answer questions. We want to serve the community. At this time of life, we're put in this weird position where we're not able to interact the way we normally do. We're not able to do the things we normally do in life. And so we get to come together on nights like this. Our alumni and Aviator family gets together every Monday night. Last night, there was like 53 people just jabbering away, and kind of some continuing education for students, plus just honestly getting to see each other is really fun. And Tucker, you got to come out and hang out. And you too, Jaclyn. Like it's really fun. It's really, really fun. And then Tuesday nights we have this. So we want to build the community and see more and more great people come together and look toward the brighter sides of life and look toward the future, because right now you're stuck inside potentially, and you may have people in your family who are sick, and the reality is that you need to be looking toward what's coming next. And I know that I know some of your plans, but I'll go ahead and start the first question. Jaclyn and Tucker, what are your plans to get outside, get beyond fear, and do really cool stuff the rest of the summer once this quarantine lifts?
As far as the summer goes, I say this every year that I want to stay home, fly New Jersey when we have all the good weather here, and then travel in the winter. But somehow I always end up going on trips. But my goal is always to just stay home and enjoy the summer here. And then by next fall, our kind of long-term goal is the Vanmobile. Electrical issues. And then once it's good to go, I think I'm going to sell the van. And moving forward, I think at this point, it's looking like we're going to try to get some sort of toy hauler travel trailer.
I have some very interesting information for you on that front.
Oh, yeah? I like interesting information on that front.
How would you like to have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 44.5-foot long toy hauler?
Sounds huge.
That might be available with a trade on a van.
A trade on the van. That sounds like a great deal.
It already has Paradigm and Aviator logos on it.
Is this the Paradigm?
I just got it back.
Oh, really?
I just got it back. So has brand new ACs, brand new tires. Thank you, Ed. I love you. Just something to put out there. Just putting it out there. It's it's a 2017, so it's pretty old. I'm not sure if it's up to Tucker Gott standards, but
I'll have to get a gooseneck.
I can get one of those for you too.
Kind of like that idea.
Anyway, I literally, this just happened the day before yesterday, so it's all new and fresh and wild. But
we'll have to chat on that.
Ed made a mistake, man, and like not actually a mistake, because I'm really proud of him. I'm really excited for him. He reconnected with an ex-girlfriend and decided that instead of adventuring across the Western United States, he'd get married instead. So I can't be mad at him, but I kind of hate him. So it's a delicate balance.
Interesting.
All right, so continue. You're going to buy a fifth wheel. You're going to travel around. Are you guys planning on out west? Are you planning on Canada, Mexico? What are you guys thinking?
Pacific Northwest, for
Yeah.
sure. We have to go up
Nice.
there.
What we ran into last trip was it was just too deep into wintertime, and anything like above Phoenix, Arizona line was just cold and snowy. So we missed out on a lot of opportunities just because we were so late into the winter. So the goal is to try to kind of leave as early as we can in the fall or late summer and do Pacific Northwest. Definitely start in Twin Falls, Idaho area, just randomly. And then
Just randomly. I talked to Miles today. Miles called me today with an idea, and I spent half an hour on the phone with him, and I'm like, I freaking miss you, dude. Seriously.
I like Miles' ideas.
When you hear this idea, which I can't talk about on air, you will be like, I'm in.
Perfect. Even more reason to stop in Twin Falls, Idaho. But I want to do that, and then like Washington and Oregon, and we haven't really looked into that corner too much. And then as it starts to get colder, start moving down to the Southwest.
Nice.
So that's the mission.
We may actually end up joining you, because the plan was to leave right after Sun and Fun, like a week after Sun and Fun, which would be actually last week, with the Kit Fox and the bus, and go out west. But then we had delays with the engine install, and now with the world kind of stopped, Alex is still working on stuff, but he's kind of split his focus between other airplane projects that had to be done, paramotor projects that had to be done, and we don't have a leave date, because quite frankly, without students in classes, we can't afford to go on a trip. So it's like, how do we find the balance point of what we're going to do? Because I still feel like it's something that needs to happen. I still feel like I really want to go adventure with the Kit Fox and the paramotors and go do really cool stuff, but it might end up being like, I think right now we're planning for a class in Ohio and or Pennsylvania in August and September. Lycoming Air Show, Kupikar, if it's still on, which we're not sure about. And then maybe after that, go for a few months and then come back before Thanksgiving, because we do a Thanksgiving with the Aviator family here. So we kind of want to be back for that. But who knows? Maybe we'll get to join you for some of that stuff.
Yeah. I was talking with my man Todd, and we were talking about doing some Southwest stuff and aligning trips as well.
Heck yeah. Todd's in here.
On it.
Todd's in here right now. We could have so much fun.
Yes.
I've got the Eco 2 Lite right now, which is the Rotax 503 or RZM 500 powered giant trike that can climb really fast with two people and then descend pretty slow with one. So there are adventures afoot.
I like that idea.
I do too. Don't trust me. I really do. But somebody asked, Tucker, are you an instructor? Would love to have classes taught by you.
I'm not officially an instructor, and I don't really have a passion to be an instructor. But
I've tried to hire him, guys. I've tried over and over again.
I mean, I've taught some friends and thing, but
I
maybe
ruined
one
it
day.
for you guys. I'm sorry.
See, I always said I would never, like, when we have spouses come through, we never let them partner up. We always make sure they're separate, because one of our mentors says it perfectly, says that you marry the person that you're most meant to trigger and like most meant to upset, because it like helps you heal your wounds, helps you grow. And I totally agree. So when Nell went through training, I had no part in any of her ground school training at all. I helped maybe 5 minutes of kiting, and then I talked her up on her first flight, and I did not even think I was going to do that. I thought like 100% that was going to be like someone else was going to do it. I just offered. I was like, if you want me to, I'd be happy to talk you up, because it was more important to me that our relationship remained intact than I had any input in her training. So.
Yeah. No, we heard that sort of thing before we kind of went on that adventure, and spousal training is true. It's a rough deal.
Yeah, we fought a lot. And it's easy to not listen to your significant other.
Well, and it's just because the thing about training with your significant other is you always have slightly raw spots, right? Even if you have the perfect relationship, you never fight, you have parts of you that don't fight because you take it and you get cut by it instead of like projecting it on your significant other. And so like those little raw spots are really opened up when you're going into this position of, hey, we're going to learn something new, which is already radically difficult as an adult. You know, it's already really challenging. And like we tell people, we're not training your adult self, we're training the inner child within you. And the inner child has had some messed up stuff happen to it, you know, whether it's abuse or trauma or loneliness, hopelessness, helplessness, all those things kind of pile into each other. And your adult self doesn't know how to handle it, just like your child self didn't know how to handle it, you know? So you go into fight or flight really quickly. So, all right, let's see. We have more questions. Tucker's, I don't even care what Tucker's is. What is Jaclyn's favorite camera setup? How about that?
Favorite camera what?
Yeah, it broke up a little bit there.
What is your favorite camera setup, Jaclyn or Tucker? I guess either one can answer.
GoPro and my phone, and that's it. The simpler, the better for me.
Yeah. I can see. It's funny because like we have had, $70,000 in cameras on set filming some of the videos that we filmed, and our most liked videos of that entire year are the videos that we filmed on our iPhones, which is like kind of annoying actually. Because like you'd think like you bring all this great equipment, you've got the $12,000 freaking drone, you've got the red cameras that Brendan brings out, and he's an incredible filmmaker, and people like the videos from our phones of kids flying down hills in France better than anything else we put out that year.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like my little Sony, I filmed my videos on, like the ground handheld stuff. Just the difference, big camera, but it's significant versus holding a phone. Like I just feel more at ease holding a phone, and it changes the way like I present on camera.
Yeah.
And I feel like that storytelling always kind of comes off a little bit better than having all the cinemas and production value.
And like I still want the production value because like I want to future proof our videos so that they have, in 10 years they aren't, in 480p where they look like crap. I want them to feel timeless, but there's so much value. Like I don't, a lot of people in the chat probably don't know. I was a photographer for 8 years, like a full-time professional photographer for 8 years. That's what I did. And a lot of my mentors, one of their favorite quotes was, the most valuable camera is not the Hasselblad. It's not any of these giant digital backs, the 100 megapixels. The most valuable camera is whatever one is closest to you. And I feel that, man. Like if you are comfortable with the camera in your hand and it's in your pocket, it's on your person, it's ready to go, capturing what's real is so much more important than trying to recreate it with something that's a better quality device.
Yeah, the cool thing that I've found too is, aside from the difference in like cameras you're holding, the difference of holding a camera on yourself, looking weird selfie mode,
Yep.
versus having the GoPro on your head. And you're just doing something you love and flying. Like a lot of people make comments of like your personality changes once you're in the air, and it's totally 100% true. Like obviously you change in front of a camera regardless, but
Right.
holding the camera on the ground, you kind of present in one way. Then when you're up flying, having fun, like that's how a lot of the content turns out the best for me.
One of my favorite things I like to say, because everyone, you get somebody like you who's got 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and you and I have been friends for, 6.5 years. Everyone's like, oh, Tucker Gott. I'm like, yeah, he's my son.
My mom.
I'm like, yeah, I've known Tucker forever, and like he's a very dear friend, and he's been there for me when I've been hurting, and he's been there for me when I've been well, and like we're close. And they're like, he has the best personality ever. And I have to be like, yes, he does, but you have to understand that like when you go in front of a camera, there's very few people who are exactly the same on camera or off. Like my favorite way of describing you is that you have this great ability to communicate and to share what you're experiencing and everything else, but your videos, if it's a 10-minute video, it's probably a 2-hour flight, and you cut everything that you talked about into the 10 minutes, and it was perfect. Like, because you're not the most talkative person. You're not like out there constantly communicating. You're a quiet guy, and I respect that so much about you because it's what I wish I was.
Yeah, no, the jump cuts make a huge difference. I feel like people that meet me in person, they're like, wow, you don't talk a lot. And I'm like, well, you realize every video is just like chop, 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 and it's just all steady talking.
Right.
So like in reality, it's always different.
Well, and I think to people too, like, I think there's this illusion of creators in general where when they meet you, they expect you to have the same like level of energy that you share in your videos. And like, where I'm pretty much the same until I get home and don't want to see anyone ever again for like days. You can't expect like PewDiePie and whoever else is out there. I don't even know who the other great creators are right now that are like huge, but PewDiePie is not like screaming at the top of his lungs outside of his sound booth. You know what I mean? Like he's got to be pretty chill. Mr. Beast, I imagine he's pretty chill, when he's not on camera, but he's building this energy so that he can get everyone to relate to him. And that's totally okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely extremes to that, like at all, but like you got to elevate it just a little bit, at least to, be relatable.
Yeah, I mean, my voice probably goes up 10 decibels when I know that I have to be on camera. Like when I finish a podcast like this, I am zonked. Like I can't sleep for like 4 hours, 5 hours, but I'm zonked. Like I'm exhausted. I'm super weary. I'm super like I'm just done. I feel like I've been on stage, and that's like when I used to teach, and Nell figured this out for me because I would teach and I'd work and I'd go and teach in the morning, teach class all day, teach in the evening, and come home and she's like, Eric, it looks like you've been on stage all day. And it's true. I mean, like you're having to present this thing, this energy to other people, and it's hard. So I truly love the fact that you have enough self-confidence, and Jaclyn too, that you guys are like, on camera is this personality and it works and like people love it. And then off camera, you're true to yourselves. You're not like trying to impress people off camera. You're just like, hi, very nice to meet you. Hope you have a great day. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like you guys are like super, super gracious to people. Like I've seen it to the point where there was one point we were at the red shop and somebody had you literally cornered, like had you in the corner of the building, and Mary texts me and she's like, what do I do? He's been there for 30 minutes. And like you had people that were surrounding you and like were like begging you for information. And finally I was like, just tell him there's an emergency and he needs to come into your office. And you like walked in and I thought you're like,
I was so confused. I was like, guys, what's going? Oh, nothing.
So the best question of the night so far, there's actually two really good questions that just came back to back. One is from Craig Taylor. He asks, will you do an interpretation of Eric again? And before you answer, I just want to point out that was not lip synced. That was actually exactly how I sounded.
Yeah, that I recovered one little bit of audio from that clip, and that was it.
I still can't believe you used it. When you sent me that the day before you posted it, I thought for sure you were trolling. And then you post this, you're like, hey, man.
Truth is, I had the entire thing lip synced, but I was like, so I just kept that one little part in, and I feel like that little part caught you off guard because it was just like I'm talking serious, and then it goes to that, and then it goes back to me talking serious. I was just laughing listening to it.
Will you please do me a favor and post the full lip sync version of your second channel? Because I will literally, I'm already your top tier Patreon subscriber. I will double up on my Patreon to watch that because I want to hear you acting a fool.
I will double check and see if I have that footage. I think I still do. We might be able to make that happen.
That would be the most epic thing that ever happened.
I was so hoping you had the original audio somehow, but then I was also like, if he doesn't, it's going to be funny because I'll be able to like do a voiceover and it'll still be entertaining.
Dude, I spent probably 6 hours going through hard drives. In fact, I need to send you a picture. So I'm set up. My home office is inside the motorhome, which is a 1996 Monaco Dynasty. It's a 34-foot, like it's a small bus, right? It has no slide outs. We built bunk beds in for the kids. This is a cheap motorhome. It costs like less than you have in your van. We have a small dining room table, and I have my 27-inch iMac and then my 27-inch monitor on it. And the monitor is hanging halfway off. And then I have a microphone like this because I'm recording my audiobook in there. A microphone like this that's literally in the hallway. And there's about 1 inch of movement on my chair between the arms and the table that I have to like rotate the chair in and get in, slide in. And like it's like locking into a cockpit. It's like, you know, that's very professional. But I have currently 37 terabytes of hard drives attached to it trying to find this footage. So my wire, like normally like I'm a zip tie guy, like all my wires are nice and organized. The cable management is enough to make anyone with OCD have a heart attack. It's real bad. Real bad. So yeah. All right. Great question, Miles Morford. Ask Tucker, what is the best way for me to earn money to save up for training and gear since I'm 14 years old and want to get training first?
Oof, that's a tough question. I mean, the thing is parachute packing, skydiving, and someone had asked me about it, and they were like, how did you like save up $8,000 in 2 years doing that? And I ran the numbers and figured out like you'd only have to pack 2 parachutes a day for a whole season or whatever on average. So that like get into. It exposes you to air sports and like kind of the mentality behind a lot of things. And you get on average $10 per pack job. You
Wow, they
work a
pay you
whole
guys.
summer.
They always paid us $5.
What's that?
I always got paid $5 a pack job.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You
and
got
in Florida it's
five,
$5.
5 for sport rigs, 10 for tandems.
Were you guys running? What tandems were you guys running? Strongs or the other one?
Sigmas?
Sigmas. Okay.
Yeah.
Sigmas are harder to pack.
I thought Strongs were. We had one come in once, and it took all of us to figure it out.
I may have that backwards. My sister's probably gonna like mutilate me over this because she packed parachutes for years.
I think the Strongs have like a 3-ring on the drogue or something weird.
Yeah, they have a different drogue deployment. So I love that. I want to piggyback on it because one story, like your story of packing parachutes, while it's super impactful and it absolutely worked for you, and I met you, I think we talked when you were 17 and then we met when you were 18.
Yeah.
You know, the reality is that the biggest recommendation I give to anybody who wants to make money, because I started my first business when I was 13 years old, you know, and I wasn't packing parachutes, I was selling airplanes. And I started by working in my grandmother's restaurant, making coffee and working on the line as a line cook and clearing dishes and washing dishes. And the biggest encouragement I can give is to look to people who work hard, look to people who don't look to have anything given to them, and be willing to really push yourself forward. So like following guys like Gary Vee on Facebook or Instagram, you know, he's vulgar, but he really puts a lot of pressure on working super, super hard and staying focused. And, you know, days like the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks have been the hardest I've had to work in probably 3 years, doing stuff that I hate doing. Like I'm extremely, extremely thankful to say this. Like I found this out at 4:00 this afternoon. We just got approved for our payroll protection loans, which took the biggest weight off my shoulders because I have been so stressed out, like so stressed out when your business, when 90+% of your business disappears in thin air because no one can come visit and people aren't training and people aren't learning to fly. People aren't, you know, terrifying because I love my team. So our employee, oh dude, it's like literally like I've been pulling my hair out, which I don't have that much to do. I should be pulling your hair out. So, you know, it's definitely, it's been a real challenge, but following people who inspire you to look beyond your fear of what you can be, who look beyond your laziness. You know, like the one thing I could tell you about Tucker for sure, like without question, is this man at 17, when I met him, he had a YouTube channel with 36 subscribers. He had a deep desire of all things aviation. He loved his tricopter. He loved flying airplanes. He loved his hot air balloon with his mom. He was so impassioned, and he wasn't going to let anything get in between him and flying. And like, that's where like, even before we met, I had so much respect for you. And like, I should bring Nell in here, let her tell stories about what I said about you before we ever met, you know? Because you weren't like some big YouTube personality. At the time, I trained like maybe 20 people, you know? So like, it was a big deal that I had this new guy coming to train with me, you know? So anyway, that's my answer. Jaclyn, do you have an answer?
Do I have an answer?
For how to save money?
Easy with that. But you could do miscellaneous like manual labor tasks like mowing lawns or anything that people would need on a daily basis.
Making coffee?
Or that.
I mean, it's, in all seriousness, if you're living at home, you're 14 years old, you're living at home, you have minimal bills, if any, even if you're making $9 an hour, it doesn't take that long. I mean, if you work 4 hours a day at $9 an hour, it's $36. $36 times 7 days times 4 weeks. I mean, in a year, you've got everything you need to, you know, at least get training in a wing.
Yeah, that's what I first thing was working at the airport, pulling weeds, cutting grass, doing random summer camp stuff for a little bit of money. Anything like that. I mean, just get a start.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I think it's just being willing to commit to the effort and being willing to commit to the pain that sometimes that effort causes. Not being able to go to that party or that weekend trip. It's like, okay, I am committed to becoming more than myself. I'm committed to doing something big. I think that's powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I got 2 questions. I'll fire them back to back. The first one is all in caps. It comes from some weird dude. It says, Tucker, question for you. How do you make the paramotor fly upside down? The guy's name is Judson Graham. I think he's the
Is
newest
that
member.
Judson?
It's the Judson Graham. It's the newest member of the Paradigm team. How do you make the paramotor fly upside down?
You just gotta yank on the strings a bunch, and don't let the only thing you can't do.
Don't
but
tangle
just
the
yank
dangle.
on them a bunch, and it'll work out.
I love it. All right, Bruce Sykes, who's one of our recent students. He was one of the quarantine students in Denellen. He's Professor Chaos. He's hilarious, and he recently bought a van. He plays pickleball and flies paramotors. And he asks what you and Jaclyn most like and least like about traveling and living in your van, since that's what he's planning on doing. I can make up answers. I can make up answers, and I can put them in that really sexy high voice, you know.
Yes. I would say the thing I like most is just the freedom of driving wherever you want to go, wherever the weather's good, wherever it looks good on Google Maps. You just pull up and set up and go fly. If it's nice, hang out for as long as you want. Like, there's no schedule really when you're on the road like that. Least like, I don't know. There's not a whole lot. When
It's hard to get
everything's
showers.
Yeah, I mean, the shower thing is kind of a pain. But the only thing I can say that I least like was on our last trip when we had like 2 weeks of both being sick and things happening in the van where it broke down and bad weather. Like, that was a real drag, but that never happened to us before. Like, all of our previous trips, I can't really say we had downtimes, but the last one we just kind of had this drag. We bounced back from it, and then we were right back on track and flying cool sights and everything.
I think like that's what's so attractive to me is I grew up in a motorhome. You know, I grew up in a bus with my family, 6 months a year with 5 kids, and we couldn't camp anywhere. You know, we had a 40-foot, by the end of it, we had a 40-foot 1978 MCI bus towing a 26-foot trailer with a 6-foot hitch. So we're like 72 feet long with this massive bus. And, you know, you could park at Walmart, Flying J, and some Cracker Barrels. I think it's so, there's this deeply passionate part of me. Like, I was trying so hard to figure out how we could potentially put 3 bunks in a Sprinter to take the kids in a van, because like the idea of being able to take a van is so much more accessible to me. Like, if we could do that, then the mileage is so much better. Getting 7 miles to the gallon hurts your soul.
Yeah.
And being able to park anywhere. I mean, you guys can park and kind of stealth camp anywhere.
Yeah, that's what is on that aspect, being a little bit bigger and not being able to stealth camp. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a total upgrade. So I'm excited for that chapter.
There is so much nicety attached to having the creature comforts of space, especially as a couple. You know, for us with kids, when we traveled in the trailer, our 5th wheel, it was so nice because we could send the kids to one side of the bus and they had their own space and we had our own space. Or I could send the kids and Nell to one side of the bus and I could have a conference call and no one knew that I was in a motorhome. You know, it was like you had your own area to feel like you actually were alone. And that's pretty powerful. All right, another question. This one comes from Jim. He says, question for Tucker. Many say the Scout is merely sexier than the rest. However, I've been watching the videos and drinking deeply from the Kool-Aid. Well, is the Enduro 2 a good choice for a noob? And I'm going to add to that and just say, is it a good choice for a noob, or is there something you would rather recommend?
I think the video broke up for a second. It was about the Enduro, if it's a good choice for a noob.
Yeah, so he's saying that he's been drinking from the Kool-Aid because the Scouts look really sexy, and he thinks that sexy is good, which he's not wrong there. But he wants to know, would you recommend an Enduro 2 for a new pilot, or is there something you'd rather think is better?
It depends a lot on the student and the course they're taking. The thing I've always said is the Scout can definitely be your first paramotor. People do it all the time,
Yep.
but objectively, there are better paramotors for a beginner. And some of the obvious things with the Scout that make it not as good for a beginner is obviously it's carbon fiber and it's one of the more fragile frames on the market. So everything in your favor.
Right.
Being a bigger guy that can handle the weight and having some inherent ability and getting good training. And that's, I think, normally the path that people that start with Scouts take, and they can be very successful like that. But in general, there are paramotors that are lighter and not as fragile. And also, another aspect of the Scout that you don't really see is it has a built-in recline angle. So I don't know, it's like 10 degrees or something. When I transitioned to the Scout from the Blackhawk, I had to noticeably lean back farther.
Yeah, that was my
And
biggest challenge. Like when I switched to Scout and I flew Scout. I had 3 of them, so I flew it a lot. It was significantly challenging for me, even though I was coming. I went from Scout to Nirvana back to Scout, and like that Nirvana instinct leans way forward too. You
mhm,
have to throw your hips so far forward, and like I feel like I can lean back well, but especially with an underseat reserve, it is like insane how much you have to lean
yeah,
back.
that's why I don't really prefer the underseat reserve. But like now, fabric, I'm like, whoa, I can really lean back.
Right.
And that's what, like, as a beginner, getting your posture straight up and not having a thrust push you at the ground is what you want.
It's super important. Actually, Alex Mateos called me out after my 2D tie-in video. Did you see that video?
No, I don't think so.
You should make a video about 2D tie-in. That would be a good video. Because like people ask us about it all the time. How do I adjust my brakes? How do I do 2D? All that stuff. Do you have 2D on your glider, Jaclyn?
No,
Girl,
not
you
yet.
need it. You need it.
Yeah, we should do that pretty soon.
That would make a great video. And I did it on
Yeah.
the same glider. I did a 22 Spider, so basically the same glider. Um, but I was leaning back and taking off, and I guess I was leaning back pretty aggressively on the Atom, and my foot was like an inch and a half from the prop, and I get this really lovely image from Alex Mateos with my foot circled next to the prop, and he's like, "Hey Eric, be careful."
Oof.
And like when the world champion paramotor pilot sends you that video, you're like, "Crap, I guess
Yeah.
I've done too
Like, yeah,
much."
good point.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't feel like you can't say anything and be like, oh, I had it under control. You're like, no, you're the world champion many
Yeah.
times over. Like, you're right. I am pushing way too hard to look cool and get off the ground too fast on a light motor with being as fat as I am. So
Speaking of Alex Mateos, did
with
today, I
the
think it
two
was,
gliders, him and Marie,
yeah,
that
that was
was
sick.
dope. And like the only reason why I don't think it's dope is it totally terrifies me that people that don't have the experience will try to do the same thing with like the engine running or something, and
Oh yeah,
that sketches me out.
yeah.
But if you ever want to do it, I'm down.
I'm down.
Like,
Jaclyn said she's down.
yeah. So like really, it's just you and the Martins. Like, it's just the Paradigm crew that I will do anything with because I know we all have reserves and we all know how each other think, and so it's just like, all right, I'm in. Like, that's totally fine. Totally fine. All right, we have more questions. Jim, CR120, my question was more specific to the Enduro 2, which is supposed to be less fragile due to the use of more aluminum and less carbon fiber. And before you answer and go toward it, my issue with the Enduro, and I haven't flown the 2, I don't know if you have, the Enduro is that the weight was so far outside, it felt more like a Zenith or one of the older, heavier units where the weight's so far out, it really felt like you were on a pendulum trying to walk with it, much less lean back. So that's why I had an Enduro and I ended up selling it after less than 6 hours.
Really.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Have you flown the 2?
I haven't flown the 2, and I personally don't. I had the Enduro 1, and I flew that. Actually, the first gun I got was an Enduro, And I don't know, I flew it for at least 6 months or a year, and I really liked it. It was way more durable than the normal Scout, and like I felt like it was pretty much on the same level as any other titanium or classic paramotor.
Hmm.
Like I always say, you could push it off a tailgate of a truck and it would probably be fine. Um,
Really?
yeah, it's the one at least was extremely rigid,
So we
and
had a student, you may know him, Eric from New York, who has
yeah,
one,
I think I know him.
and he slipped on landing in wet grass. And I won't go into the derogatory parts of this because it was actually what ended up making us stop selling Scout. Nothing against Miro. Miro's amazing. Nothing against the current owners of Team Fly Halo. But we had an issue because there was some like personality differences. But dude, he like slipped on wet grass and ended up needing, I think it was 3 or 4 new fins, new hoop, new, like it was a new subframe. Like, and he slipped as he was stopping. It was huge. It was crazy.
I had the biggest incident I had on my first enduro. I had my old Snake XX, and I was trying to do like swoopy landings, and it was thermally, and I just like cranked it real hard straight at the ground and realized that was way too low. So I just like punched the brakes, but didn't have any flare, and like butt landed it so hard, and the
Oh.
exhaust came in contact with the and I was like, oh, it's probably fine.
My favorite one, and this is the very first Scout that I got to import. I got to import the very first Scout to the U.S. Very proud of that, actually. I've never imported the very first of anything to the U.S., I don't think. Maybe Nitro, Tornado, I guess. Yeah, but this is way before that. Shane and Jeff Toll had the Scout sent to my house. So like I got the paperwork, I signed for it. It was my Scout legally, except I hadn't paid for it. And, and we're at Wings Over Winter 2 or 3, and Shane's flying it. And I'm going to throw Shane under the bus a little bit because Shane did the old Florida shuffle where like you go to take off and like you think you're a baller, and he is a baller pilot. Like Shane is one of my inspirations. He really is. So he's like powers up, running forward, slips, and turtles. And I have it on video. And like he slips and like bam, turtles. And everyone's looking because like the Scout hadn't flown yet, I don't think. Like it was like the first time this beautiful machine, like the only thing that could compete with Nirvana Instinct, right? Like it was like no one had seen anything like it. And he falls on his butt and then rolls to his back. I don't think he was like full turtle, but he was like 2/3 turtle.
Oof.
And we all look over and we're like, oh, and the Scout was fine. It was like they'd secretly built the first one with Kevlar inside or something because like nothing happened to prop was fine, motor was fine, netting was fine. Like it was one of those things like it shouldn't have happened. And like if it happened to anybody else, because Shane at the time was like 220, 230 pounds. Like he wasn't a light guy falling on top of this motor. And like somehow it was perfectly fine. And the ironic part of this was 1 or 2 runway lights from where you broke your first prop the day I broke my back.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I remember that clearly.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see if there's more questions. Someone said it just froze for them. I can still see it moving, so I'm going to keep going. Would you recommend SIV training in any particular place to train, Tucker?
I would definitely recommend SIV training, like when you're at the right position and experience to get into it. I'm not an expert though on like who to go to. I did the motor SIV with Christina Croce down in Florida at that Wings Over Winter a couple of years ago. But aside from that, like I don't know. I think it's definitely a good thing to do and build your confidence and learn new skills and everything.
I believe that the one that is most recommended right now is sivclinic.com. The guy's name is Brad Gunashio. That's where AJ was supposed to go in April, and he's got great reviews from everybody I've talked to. I have not done an SIV, a proper one. I've taught myself a lot of SIV maneuvers, which I don't recommend doing that, but I did it over water with a safety boat after lots and lots and lots, like hundreds. I didn't start pulling stalls till I was after 1,000 hours. So that's part of the thing to me is like make sure you have the requisite experience and an instructor if possible. I know that one of the guys in your SIV had 26 flights when he started the SIV. Remember that?
Yeah.
And like, it was great for him because he only did what he was able to do, you know? Question for Jaclyn. Any interest in flying the Scout?
Yes and no. Yes, because I've never flown it before and I've heard so much about it from Tucker and I see it all the time and it's kind of tempting to fly it, but I know that it is just way overpowered for me. So maybe once I have absolutely everything in throttle control mostly, maybe I'll fly it.
I
And
think
if he'll let me,
I think-
probably wrapped in bubble wrap.
it's like more than half your weight. That's the thing that's going to be
Yeah.
challenging. Yeah.
We talked about this once because I thought like if we had a good beach day and she just had like nice kiteable wind, she could totally do it. But like a flat ground, no wind launch would definitely be tough.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, I've flown motors that are more than half my weight, and it's doable, but it's a lot of work. The funny thing is, like, there'll be a part of you that will always miss the power after you fly something with that much power. Like flying the 230 for a while, like it was really fun to be able to blast up, and then flying the 280, like having that 280 power is like, holy crap! Like I can climb, 15, 20% faster than I can climb on my 185. That's a lot of fun, But yeah, I think it'd be cool. I think you should try it. Try it at least once.
It'd make a good video.
So Miles Milford says that he sent you a letter a few weeks ago, and he has a picture of a mini handheld paramotor. It's about to be in the air soon. You should look at the letter he sent you. I think Miles sent us a letter also. Somebody sent us a letter recently that was Miles's age, and it's on my desk to reply to, and I haven't been to my desk in 5 weeks, so it's not been replied to yet.
I haven't been to the P.O. box in like a long time, so I really have to get over there.
Yeah, dude, you might have coffee. You don't want the coffee to go bad. Come on now.
I know. I get notifications or whatever, and I haven't seen any. So like generally I don't go unless I see something, but it's been a while, so I got to get over there.
Nice. All right, there's other stuff coming through. We usually wrap these up after like 90 minutes. People asked for a post show, like an after show tonight, to hop in and converse with us, and I'm certainly open to that shenanigans. You guys don't have to stick around for it if you don't want to, but we may do that. If you guys are listening to this as a podcast, we appreciate you being here. We have not put out podcasts since December due to some staffing changes, but I just discovered that recently, and I figured out how to work the application to post them. So that's coming very soon. Jamie Howie asks, Paravlog question, how do you get the wind noise out of videos?
What a convenient question. For the longest time, they're on the couch. And I hate building helmets, but I finally put a new helmet together and filmed every part of it. And in it, I explain how I do it with the Cena to get the audio. And I actually just went and tested it, and I found out that Cena changed their microphone, because that was the key. The Cena microphone have to do anything post-processing to make it sound better. But they changed their microphone, and I went and tested it, and it sounded like trash. So luckily I had a spare microphone that I had cut off an old helmet, and I just resoldered that one on. So now I have everything to put this video together, and I think that'll be the next video I put online, hopefully. Audio and stuff.
Well, I have some extra Cena SMH-10R and 30R or 30S microphones that just went up in value by about 80x. So if anybody wants those,
I might need a couple.
I got your back. You can have them. No, so like that's every helmet's different, and like we built the Aviator helmet, which you've tested, and it creates really good audio. We had those built with the idea of being the best of everything, and I know that there's a couple other companies who are working on new products that might be better, and I'm going to test everything. I am all about testing, and I think that you are as well. Like that actually kind of brings me to another thing that you and I talked about briefly, was the idea of, you've been on a search for something better than the Sena Audio. You've been on a search for something better than your free ride. And it seems like your search has recently ended. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mentioned that in one of the last videos that my search kind of basically came back to the free ride. And then so I finally placed an order for another free ride 16. And when I get it, I want to basically make a video talking about like why I bought the same wing twice. Because like when I was big into model airplanes, I had this thing of like, I had about like 20 or 25 different model airplanes, but there were like a top 3 that were so good that if I just crashed them into pieces, I would just be like, I'm going to buy another one. And I just always want that model. And I feel like the free ride is almost like the equivalent to me, even though it's not like I crashed it into a million pieces. It just got like worn out. And it's
Right.
just something I'm coming back to. And I don't think it's all I tried. I flew for a while and got beyond like the first couple hours of flight where everything feels different, and then slowly you get accustomed to it. But yeah, the thing with the free ride for me is it's just the whole package. It's not necessarily better than any other wing in all the specific categories, but it does every single category really well, and it's just
Right.
very like balanced.
And I feel that way about basically the whole range of Ozone wings. I'm on my second free ride. I've had 3 Viper 4s. I've had 2 Sirocco 19s. 1, what was it? Not Sirocco. What was the 16? Doesn't matter. Anyway, I've gone through their entire range over and over and over and over and over again. And like, I can't seem to find a wing I like better. And it's kind of irritating because I want to find something because I'm friends with the designers at Ozone now. So I can be like, hey, you guys really need to fly the blah, blah, blah wing that's better than the free ride at this, you know, and it doesn't lock into a spiral. Because like I can say the Gen Carve dives into a spiral better than the free ride does. You know, it rolls a little faster with less input, but then it locks in, and that creates a safety buffer for me that I don't like. Or you could say that the Cubic is faster, but then it, you know, likes to do a full collapse on you and throw you into the dirt. You know, like, there are things you can say that are good, but you don't want to, you can't have the give and take. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think everything is kind of a trade-off. And that's why like the free ride just being balanced is what I'm looking for.
Right. Yeah, I feel the same way. I had somebody recently who wanted to buy my free ride, and I was like, you can buy it, but I'm buying another free ride. So why don't you just buy a new one? This one has like 12 hours on it. You know? All right. Some other good questions coming in. Eric Sheridan asked, what's the difference between the Ozone Groundhog and Roadrunner? Do you know about the Roadrunner, Tucker?
No.
All right. So this has been a really, really long project that's finally come to fruition. The Roadrunner is Ozone's new kiting wing. So I'm sure you've kind of seen that a lot of different kiting wings come out over the years, as we have. And we tried the Groundhog. We had, when you were in training, we had the Dudek Zigzag way back when, the very first glider that ever got an Aviator logo on it.
Yes, I remember.
The blue, white, and black. Yeah, it's still around. People are still kiting it, believe it or not. It's probably got 7,000 hours on it now.
That's awesome.
So the goal with the Roadrunner was to create something that was not capable of flight, that was affordable, that didn't have the y-axis oscillation issues of the Groundhog, was easy enough to kite up in no wind. And it was really focused, like our intent with it was focused toward serving our students, because we had this crazy idea that would be really cool would be to have anybody who signed up for training with Aviator post May 30th, once we have all these wings in stock, they will receive somewhere between a week and a month before training, they will receive a glider for free in their mailbox that they get to use until training, and then bring back to training with them to go to the next person or ship it on to the next person. So we wanted people to be able to show up to training knowing how to forward kite in no wind, knowing how to reverse kite in some wind, without a cost to them, so that they could actually show up and have all this extra experience. I mean, you guys saw Derek. I mean, Derek crushed it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just because of his hairline or his wife. It was he had experience. You know, the guy was good. So that was kind of what we were thinking. We wanted to do that, and so over the last, I think we started the project in August or September of last year, and now it's finally finished. We have a 14-meter glider that is designed to be land-born bird. That's the Roadrunner, which I love the name. And we bought 25 of them. We've already sold most of the ones that we can sell to people who are past students, because we've only shared it with past students so far. But we will be shipping those out as soon as they arrive to the upcoming students, so they'll be able to show up with experience, because we're trying to do whatever we can to continue to emphasize more experience for our students before they arrive, so that they can have an easier and happier training experience. So yeah, that's what the Roadrunner is. I kited it at Palm Bay and before Palm Bay, and it like blew my mind. You can't get it to overfly you. Like, I ran holding just the A's and then stopped holding just the A's, and it kept flying in moderate wind. It doesn't have that twitchy oscillation, the y-axis oscillation with the brakes. So like when you and I have flown speed wings together, you know, it's always kind of rolling around on you shoulder to shoulder. It doesn't do that, which is super nice. So that's kind of what we're pushing forward on, and that's why the Roadrunner exists. And if anybody is looking to learn to fly paramotors, we have space June 3rd, I believe is the date. Maybe wrong on that, actually. Let me look. I am wrong on that. June 13th and June 20th, we have class spaces available, and you should be able to have your hands on a Roadrunner, because they're supposed to ship on the 27th. So kind of cool stuff. I'm excited.
I want to try a Roadrunner.
I want to fly a Roadrunner. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I was going to say, and totally not fly it.
No, it's really fun. Like, it says don't fly anywhere on it, like giant placards everywhere, because it's not load tested, you know, but it's ozone design. I was like, totally not going to fly this wing. Yeah, there will not be a video of us flying that wing, that's for sure. But you were there when I flew the 10.5 meter Rapido, so
yeah,
it could happen.
Only mild catch factor.
That was the crappiest air. Holy crap. That was nasty.
Yeah. That was some of the most rapid wing movement I've seen in flight.
And it wasn't my fault. It wasn't me doing it, I swear. I was just trying to keep up.
Just little hanger rotor, some tree rotor.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish you'd been at Sun and Fun last year, because Sun and Fun last year we had that night show that was just so unbelievable. Like, it was 23 gust 25, I think, and we flew, and it was so rowdy. Like, that was some nasty air, but we had fun. Had some super good times.
Is that the one where that picture was with the lightning flash in the cloud?
Yeah. I mean, the thunderstorm was only 40 miles away. It was plenty far, right?
It's doable.
We were like sitting up, laying out wings, and we're like, is this a good idea? And we're all like talking. We're like, honestly, it feels safe. Like, we have run every algorithm. We have NOAA giving us weather information. Everything was like tied together, and everyone was like, listen, I think we're good. You know, I think that we're going to be in a good position. And we were totally safe, and we never had a gust front that night. It was just very consistent, very high wind, and it was nasty. And after about 7 minutes, I was like, all right, time to land. And then Javi is like, no, I am high. I do infinity.
It seems like every time there's a situation like that, everyone's like, all right, time to land. It's like, no.
Javi's the king of that. He really is. Have you flown in Kansas at all?
Yeah, endless foot drag. I think that was the only time.
That's the only time I've flown there, but I flew in the old site that was in Arcoma. So I guess that wasn't Kansas.
It was a pretty place to fly.
Yeah. Were you guys there last year or the year before?
The year before last.
Okay. Let's see. Another question for me. Sorry, I hate doing this. When are you guys going back to work? Kelby Cox, we go open training on May 2nd, but it is a fully quarantined class. So the class is currently quarantining themselves for 2 weeks in advance of training, as are the instructors, as is the entire team. And for the first time ever, we're actually offering food for the students. So students will be eating in-house only. There's no restaurants. There's no grocery stores. There's no nothing. Most of them are staying in the same Airbnbs or motorhomes. And then May 9th, we come back to Lake Wales with the same exact plan. So the goal is more and more safety, trying to keep people safe and but also be able to continue the dream, continue to be able to change people's lives. Let's see. Has anyone launched a paramotor with a one-wheel strapped to their feet yet? I feel like this is the one thing that's seriously lacking from your channel, both of your channels, Tucker and Jaclyn. Why don't you have one wheels?
Honestly,
I'm not into it.
I've ridden them, and I know like a lot of people have that like quick fixation thing where they absolutely love it and they need one. I've ridden one, and it's just like, it's cool, but I've never felt that.
So that's how I was. I bought 10 to start because we were going to be dealers, and the instructors were all like, we'll buy them, we'll do this, we're going to sell these things, they're going to be awesome. So we bought 10 of them, and one of them was a demo, which was mine to use. And it probably took me 5 weeks of riding it lightly, like around the hangar, back and forth between the shops, really slow, like being super, super cautious before I even felt confident at all.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've never snowboarded, I've wakeboarded twice and stayed upright like a little bit. And most of the time I just bust my face. But it took a long time before I felt like comfortable. And then about 3 weeks after that, I busted my butt really badly. I almost ran into Fletch's car. Sorry, Fletch. And now, like the same progression, like that super slow, like I'm very cautious, very, very slow, very careful. I love it. Like we have a pint at home that we use to take the trash out because we have a long driveway. And I rode it tonight, and it's just like, it feels like flying. And I haven't flown in 5 weeks. So it's like, oh, thank God. Like it just felt so, so good. I don't know. Give it another chance, man. Like you need one.
Yeah.
Motorcycles do that though too.
Yeah, but motorcycles, there's like traffic, and you can't.
I don't know. I feel like the accident rate is comparable because like every single person I know that has a one wheel has had some gnarly crash on one.
That is true. And the thing you have to think about too with the one wheel is it's just like paramotoring. It's the same Dunning-Kruger curve of expectation and belief in yourself to accident. Like every time that I get cocky, something happens. And so I've chosen not to get cocky at all with the one wheel. I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be collected. I'm going to be careful. And like at the Christmas parade this year, Aviator has a float, and we had, I think 5 of us on one wheels and a couple of scooters and a couple Segways. And it was just so fun because most people had never seen anything like it before in our small town. They were just blown away by it. So, yes, thank you. My wife's bringing me water. She's the queen. All right, let's see. Aviator does sell one wheels, Eric Sheridan. We can send one to Tucker right away. And the other thing about the one wheel that beats the motorcycle is I can put a one wheel on the back of my airplane. I can't put a motorcycle on the back of my airplane. And I mean, that's pretty chief.
The only like thing I've felt inspired to try is have a one wheel and strap it on the front of the paramotor somehow, and then go fly somewhere and like ride it into town.
That's a great idea.
I feel like that'd be cool.
I can send you a pint. We can make it happen.
The pint's like pretty small. It would work, right?
It's like 6 pounds lighter than the one wheel XR, I believe. The XR, like I flew up to Viking Engines to have the engine put in my kit fox, and this video is coming out soon. But I had a meeting in the morning, so I couldn't go at the same time that the guys were going back to the airport. So I just hopped on the one wheel. Instead of taking an Uber, I took like a 3.2 mile one wheel ride back to the airport, and it was freaking awesome. Like it was super fun. So super, super fun. Would Jaclyn ever do any ridge soaring?
Yes. Actually, one of my loose goals for 2020 is to learn to paraglide. It has to line up with work and how much I can save and where we wind up in the fall. But I definitely want to get into that.
I'm with you. I love paragliding, and I know that Tucker and I have had ridiculous amounts of fun. I still like every once in a while when I want to have like an adrenaline rush, I just relive that Viper / free ride flight off the mountain in Costa Rica. And I'm like, Oh God, that was scary, but really
That was
fun.
the best.
That was,
Honestly, like
whew.
the free flying we did down there was super fun, and I would love to do more of it. But the one flight that sticks out in my mind is full committing on the Viper and free ride combo, and just like we didn't have any wind really. We just did a sled run, but that was like so much fun.
When I came off the hill, because I think I was chasing you, right?
You went first.
Okay, so when I came off the hill and like that tree is right there, like you kick the tree, the one that caught Rocky, and like I came off the hill, I kicked the tree, I tried to get in the seat, and I just, it's so incredibly different having the super low hang points that are at your hips. Everything moves so much more. I was shifting my hips to get into the seat, and all of a sudden my wingtips in the trees, and I was like, oh, like, oh my God, that's just crazy. It's
That's
absolutely
what
crazy.
I want to do more of ground launching, like getting into speed flying and even just launching the free ride off of that.
Well, if we travel together, I promise to bring at least 3 speed wings, because I think a Rapidos 15, I think the next size is a 12 or 13, and maybe a 9. Like that would be a really nice collection to be able to really hit any level of steepness. I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
down. All right. Would Jaclyn ever do base jumping?
Yes. The first thing that comes to mind is I would definitely go off the bridge in Twin Falls,
Yep.
but I've been right on the edge of the cliffs that he jumps off of with him, and it takes a certain level of like mental fortitude to send yourself over that thing. Like just looking over the edge, I get vertigo like crazy. And like the commitment, it's not like with a paramotor where you can like just stop. Like once you're at the edge, I feel like you need to commit.
Yeah.
Like mind, body, everything. It's not forgiving. So I don't know if I could do that, but I would do it.
I can't even like. So I've lost a lot of friends to base jumping, and Tucker and I've had this conversation many, many times about like, please don't do anything stupid. And like, I get that he loves it, and I respect him for it, but at the same time, I'm like, I've lost some of the people who are the best in the world to this stuff, and like, bridges I'm cool with, towers I'm pretty cool with, as long as they're really, really tall. But it freaks me out, man. Every cliff launch I watch, I'm just like, I love you, bro. Don't die.
No, he's got it dialed in. I trust him with his life.
But how epic would it be if we sent Eric off the bridge on a PCA when we're out west together?
That
Yeah,
I'm down with.
we
I would
should
do
do
that
it.
as long as Miles is like giving me coaching, because as crazy it is to trust anybody that's on Red Bull that snorts it every day. Like I believe in him. So
We should make that happen.
Yeah.
I would love that.
I've had that conversation with Nell. Like I would jump off a bridge. That I would do with a parachute. She just gave me a really funny look from behind the computer.
Honestly, like PCA off of a bridge under proper instruction and good conditions, there's like not much that can go wrong.
Yeah. I'm a little
I think-
concerned about the impact of the opening just because of my back.
Yeah,
But
Oh yeah.
I try it
PCA
once.
is not bad.
Who needs
Yeah.
to walk, right? All right. Couple things to talk about. One, when is the next big drop of merch and cool stuff at riskybiscuits.com?
Hopefully, within a month. I'm trying to do now, like throughout the summer, I want to hit each month with 2. And I'm going to the classic Risky Biscuits shirt in stock all the time.
Nice.
But I want to do these limited edition drops and then keep doing giveaways of sorts throughout the summer and maybe do another Aviator training giveaway one day.
We're open to it, and like that's one of the things that we're excited about is there's always new things that are possible to give away and to inspire people and to kind of open the area. I was talking to you earlier tonight, like you are crushing the limited edition game. You really are. I don't know what's coming next. I'm excited to see it. We have 5 new t-shirts that are ready to drop, and we're going to probably do limited editions with, but we were kind of timing them to go with our trip because like I have a really sick like Moab bus kit box shirt ready to go, and like I don't want to release that until it's time. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
gotta be releasing stuff on time. I think you should make one that's just Greg torqued off face, like his really excited face that he won the competition. I think that would be perfect.
Yes.
All right, so because I'm gonna piggyback off you, new limited edition hats just hit the store. They aren't on the store yet. They'll be on the store, I believe, on Friday or Thursday, but they just came into the warehouse, and so they're like this rubber stamp, super cool hat, and I'm really excited because I've been waiting since December for these. So they're coming out. That's cool as heck.
Is that suede?
No, it's not. So it's actually the stamp itself is rubber, and then the hat is the kind of a standard trucker cap with the snapback. But we have two different colors, and they look really dope. So
I dig it.
very
Yeah,
excited
nice
about
color
it.
scheme.
I've been after rubber stamp hats for like the most ridiculously long period of time, and the smallest MOQ I could find was 20,000 initially, and I couldn't afford 20,000 hats. So we found a small company, and I've been wearing it since December, and I'm really happy with it. So anyway, let's see. The only other two things to announce before we go to an after show, which is up to you guys if you want to join. A is, for the first time ever to the entire world, we are releasing that if you're a paramotor pilot or a paramotor enthusiast and you have a friend that wants to learn to fly and you want to inspire them toward flight and earn something for it, we currently have spaces available in June, July, and August. And those seats that are available, if you send someone for those seats, there will be a leaderboard. There will be a challenge attached to this, but we're going to give a $200 Aviator credit for anybody who sends someone to one of those seats. So if you're watching the live stream right now or you're watching it later, you can earn $200 in Aviator credit that can be applied toward anything that we have in stock in the store right now. You know, say Bob Garber sends Mike Brennan or vice versa because Mike's actually flying and Bob's not. If you send them to us, have them, kind of link together, make sure that Kristen knows that who sent who. We will be updating a leaderboard. Tucker's going to be on this leaderboard, I think. Right now, I think he's winning. But there's going to be a really nice prize for whoever actually wins. It might be a kiss from me. It might be a hug. I'm not sure. We may let you dance with all of us. It's going to be exciting, though. We wanted to do something a little bit different to inspire a little more growth and try to encourage people to come together because our Aviator family keeps growing. And this is the first time we've ever had seats available so soon, so many seats. And I know a lot of it's this coronavirus, but we recognize so truly that if we're not living beyond our fears, we're living half of a life. It's so important to step into that discomfort and to do something bigger for yourself. And so we're opening this up. We're said, hey, why not? Let's do something different. Let's say if you send a friend who's been interested in flying, you're currently a pilot, you have friends you want to have fly with you, send them to us, get them to sign up for training between now and August, and we will send you $200 in credit. So kind of cool stuff. Resurgence PPG says, cool, we're sending Christopher Harvey May 23rd. There you go. See, Todd, you're on track, my friend. You're on track. And then I had one more announcement, and I literally can't think of what it was. Is this bad? Do you have any other announcements, Tucker or Jaclyn?
Announcements? I don't think so.
Jaclyn has a new video coming out soon, I think.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What's
It's
it
a good
feature?
one.
It's a
It's
good
in the
one.
works. Can't give up any secrets unless you want to.
No.
Just stay tuned.
But it's worth it. It's so stupid.
I like it.
You have to see it.
I like it. Well, as always, guys, thank you all for joining us. I'm going to put a link in the description or in the chat right now to the after call if you guys want to join us. We're going to kill the live stream here in just a moment. If anybody has any last minute questions, we'll be happy to share them. Miles asked where Risky Biscuits came from.
It was originally a thing I started saying back when I was packing parachutes because we would just come up with these stupid sayings, and the one guy I worked with at the time was like the king of coming up with stupid sayings, and it was just always a fun time, and that's where it came from. And then
Yeah, I remember you saying it in training, and I was just like, what?
but the definition of Risky Biscuits?
I have no idea.
It was on the T-shirt.
It is?
It's like the act of taking calculated risks in pursuit of, I should know it.
Delicious biscuits. I was like, I don't own a Risky Biscuit shirt, so you've never given me one. I've given you a few Aviator shirts. You've never given. In Paradigm,
I will send you the swag pack.
I expect the swag pack by no later than tomorrow.
I'll send a little coronavirus down to you.
I will leave it on my back porch for 3 days, as I do with
Make
everything
sure
else.
you leave it.
Oh my gosh. Question from Gage. Is there Aviator training in Nebraska? Not Aviator, but one of our alliance partners is out there. It's parameternebraska.com. Great guy. Super, super good dude. He's in the Omaha area or Lincoln area. I don't know. Have you flown in Nebraska, guys?
I don't think so.
It's super awesome.
No, we drove through. I don't think I've ever flown there.
It's really, really beautiful. I really enjoy it. So we've got 213 people watching right now and 92 have clicked like. If you enjoyed the show, please click like. If you'd like to join us in the after show, I'm going to send that link right meow. For those of you guys who asked if you could send enough people to earn free Aviator